Hi everyone, welcome to the IoT Hero Show, my weekly showcase of thought leadership in the Internet of Things. My name is Tom Raftery, I'm the Global IoT Evangelist for SAP, and now, on with the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the IoT Hero Show. We're at SAP d-kom in Karlsruhe, and with me on the show I have...
Julien Vayssiere.
Welcome to the show, Julien.
Thank you very much, Tom.
What's your role, Julien, in SAP?
I'm the global lead of the d-shop program at SAP.
Okay. What is the d-shop program? Because I see lots of cool stuff behind us here. What is the d-shop program?
So basically, d-shop is a program for bringing new technologies to every SAP employee, wherever they are in the world. So be it external technologies, you see a lot of non-SAP technologies here, such as HoloLens and virtual reality devices and Raspberry Pis and so on, but also new SAP technologies that need to reach developers, cloud, HANA Cloud platform, machine learning platform now, and so on. IoT is a big one for us. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, what's the philosophy of the d-shop? I mean, d-shop sounds cool, but in practice, if I'm an SAP employee and I want to learn about these technologies, what do I do?
The philosophy is really, it's hands-on learning, and it's informal hands-on learning from peers, meaning that you will be in a room with other developers like you, some of them who've done it before, and it's there's no, we want to do that outside of any reporting line. There's no official record whether you took the training or not. It's really, you come to a room at a given time, you bring your laptop and we give you everything else. Say you want to get started doing IoT prototyping Raspberry Pi, you just come here and 2 hours later you have pushed your data to HANA Cloud platform. If you want to get started doing virtual reality, you just bring your laptop and 2 hours later you'll have done your first 3D world using Unity. And that's the way it works, really peer-to-peer learning on cool new technologies.
Wow, I want to do it.
You're welcome.
And where are the d-shops?
So we started in Palo Alto, and quickly after that we moved to Waldorf, and now we are in 24 different locations. Most of them map the SAP Labs network, so where we have developers, but not only developers, we actually are also very strong where we have a lot of pre-sales people, because our pre-sales people are people who need to understand enough about technology to actually build demonstrations and then face the customers. They really have both depth and breadth in their expertise, and they're very good customers for us. And they also keep us grounded because they bring the customer's voice into the mix, because we have a tendency to be very much like because we can kind of people. We just build things because it's cool, but they also bring the customer scenario into the mix.
Sure, I was going to say I can't see many scenarios for connecting a Raspberry Pi to HCP.
Actually, you'd be amazed how many scenarios.
Great.
You don't see the Pi, but there is a Pi somewhere, because I think it's the cheapest, most reliable, accessible piece of hardware you can think about for building your IoT demonstrator. It's a very nice way to build your edge device, and that's. And for us, the real SAP work starts when the data arrives in the cloud or in the SAP system. But it's very important that we know enough about edge devices to actually bring that culture into SAP. For example, something that's very typical of software engineers, that you trust data in your database very much, but you need to have touch with your fingers the fact that if you have a sensor that sends you data, sometimes you put the sensor out and you still get data. It may be a bit more dirty, but you still get data, and you need to, that's not something that happens in a purely digital world. But as soon as you start dealing with the physical world, those things happen, and we also try to bring this kind of culture from the physical and the electronics world into SAP, because IoT is a big topic for us.
And roughly how many people have gone through the d-shop? Have you any idea?
Last year alone, and that's a very conservative number, we had at least 2,000 employees who came to one training session, mostly IoT, but also 3D printing or virtual reality. Yeah, and many of them actually went back to their teams and kept telling the tale to their friends, and teaching their friends about how to get started with this and that technologies that we could not count, that we know it exists. Yeah.
I mean, for people who are traditional ABAP programmers, it must be a huge mind change for them to switch over into IoT stuff.
It is because if you live in the ABAP world, in a way, everything is done for you, and you really focus on the business code. While when you start doing Raspberry Pis and so on, you have to. It's very much open source world. You're given like a blank table, and you have to build everything from scratch. You have to build your tools up to the point where you can actually build the business code. That's easiest part. And many of them actually have experience with those technologies from working on home projects. Typically, like, you wouldn't believe how many people do home automation projects, on the side. And we actually created a special cycle of talks inside at SAP called Plugin, where people who do amazing technical things at home, on their personal time, can actually talk about it at work. And the idea is that more often than not, they developed a skill set at home that's 80% usable at work. Say they automated watering the garden, or they put some. We have the colleague talk here today about is an amateur beekeeper, and he actually created a special weighing scales for his beehives so that he knows exactly how much honey the bees have been producing, and he gets that sent to him, and there's a cloud backend and so on, and that's a full IoT solution on his spare time, and it's
Amazing.
The more you start finding people like that, you start putting the threads, and there's a whole web of them, at work. And we had people who even did things completely unrelated to IoT. A colleague loves to build bike frames out of bamboo, and that's his passion.
Wow.
And just showing the dedication and the passion and the fact that someone sitting in the office next to you could do something amazing, that really helps drive employee engagement and get that little light bulb going, thinking, oh, if this guy can do that and he's a developer just like me, I could also do something amazing with technology I do not yet know. Yeah.
And have you seen any mind shifts in the people in the organization since the start of the D-Shop?
Yeah. What we really, the number one mind change we want to drive is, I think people have been working for too long with technologies that are quite complex. It's hard for them to believe that things can be easy, Right. And so that's why they don't believe it unless they've done it with their own fingers. So that's why we tell them, come to that room at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, sit down, and 2 hours later you'll be finished. You have finished your first Raspberry Pi prototype. And they don't believe you unless you sit them down and you get them to do it with their own fingers. Yeah. And after that, once you do that once, it gets their mind running. It's like, oh, if I could do that, I could learn virtual reality in 2 hours, or 3D modeling and so on. And then suddenly it opens up the mind to possibilities, to things that could be prototyped using all those different technologies put together. Yeah. That's
Fantastic. Julien, that sounds great. Anything else that you want to say about the D-Shop that I haven't asked about?
That we really hope in 2017 to open up to the outside, so you can expect to see more of our content reach SCN and the social media channels, because it's all things that, technology that also often we've learned from SAP mentors. For example, many of them have been doing IoT prototyping with Pis and Arduinos way before we started that at SAP. So that's, we want to give back also to the community outside.
Awesome. Great, fantastic. Julien, that's been great. Thanks a million for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much, Sam.